Well, good morning. Happy day after Cybertruck Day. There's a lot to talk about. We have all the specs, we have a lot of details about the things that were released after the event yesterday. And we're going to talk about that now, especially prices, range, and some of the peculiar ways that Tesla is working on adding range to the Cybertruck. So, a lot to unpack here. Stick around to the end. I'm excited to share this update with you after I've had about 24 hours, not even quite 24 hours, to really digest this and get a good feel for what my feelings are on this. So let's talk about all that right now. Tesla released the three trims that they announced back in 2019, which to me was a surprise. Now, the prices are nowhere near what I expected. Range is kind of in line with what I expected, but I've never been so wrong about some of these prices, range. So that's on me. I didn't even think there would be a rear wheel drive announced. Now, that's not coming till 2025, but let's look at where we started and where we're at today. So, originally, we were looking at a single motor rear wheel drive, 250 miles of range, 110 miles an hour, 6.50 to 60, 3,500 payload, 7,500 pounds, 39.9. Dual motor, 300 miles, 120-mile top speed, 4.5 seconds 0 to 60, 35 payload, 10,000 pounds towing, 49.9. And the tri-motor, 500 miles of range, 130 miles an hour, 2.90 to 60, 3,500 payload, and 14,000 pounds of towing, all for 69,900. Now, I'll pivot to just yesterday. Here's the update. We're looking at 250 miles, which is in line with that single motor. 6.5 seconds, again, in line. 7,500 pounds towing, again, in line. But at 60,990, or a $22,000 increase, which is the smallest increase that we're going to see of all three trims. All-wheel drive comes in at 340 miles, so actually 40 miles more than what was originally announced. 112 mile an hour, 4.10 to 60, so even better. 2,500 pounds of payload. Unfortunately, we've lost 1,000. 11,000 pounds of towing, which is 1,000 more, and a $30,000 increase, or 79,990. The Cyberbeast is the new name for the tri-motor, which is a very appropriate name. This thing is a beast. 320 miles of range, or about 180 miles less than what was announced. 130 mile an hour top speed, 2.60 to 60, which is insane for this big truck. 2,500 pounds payload, 11,000 pounds towing, which is a bit less than we expected, and $99,990. It is a $100,000 truck, 320 miles of range. Wow. So this truck is featuring the 4680 battery cells, and it is the next generation of the 4680s, but we're still looking at a 250 kilowatt charge rate, which is disappointing in some regards. And based on the 15-minute charge to range, it's not much faster than what we've had all this time from Tesla. So hopefully as V4 starts to ramp, we get better charging in the Cybertruck. But right now, there's nothing really special about the charge rate in the Cybertruck. One of the bright sides, though, is with the battery warranty on the truck, you get the biggest Tesla warranty, which is 8 years, 150,000 miles. So you are well covered on that battery the entire time you're going to own this truck, which is great. Now, Tesla released what they're calling a range extender, and this is something we had no idea after we saw what it was, what the details were. A couple hours later, stuff started coming out about this, including the price, but apparently Tesla's come up with a way to add significant range to the Cybertruck, both the dual motor and the Cyberbeast. And this is going to be a $16,000 add-on, but it's going to make your dual motor 470 plus miles of range. It's going to give you 440 plus miles of range in the Cyberbeast, which is huge, but it's $16,000. It has to be done at the service center, and you will lose a third of your bed by putting this on. Now, this is not something that's going to be easily removable or anything like that. I don't even know if you're going to be able to remove it yourself. That's a pretty big battery. It's going to be heavy. So being able to actually remove this might be a challenge. One of the other really cool things about the Cybertruck in particular is the accessories department went to work on this truck. This isn't something we've typically seen from Tesla. We get some basic accessories, but on the Cybertruck, man, they went all out, and a lot of the stuff was on display for us to see yesterday at the factory, which is really cool. They developed the tent specifically for the Cybertruck, which is really cool. It actually folds into the bed, and you can close the locker. This tent is $2,975, a little bit expensive, but not that far off from what you would expect from a quote-unquote rooftop camper. But This is not too bad, I don't think. Color paint film from the factory is $6,500. Getting a ramp is not anything like what we originally saw at announcement date, but it'll cost you $400 for what you can get at the hardware store. Mats at $295, which is reasonable. Underseat storage, which you've got to have, $250, well worth it. Sunshade, $115, not too bad. Console tray, $40, not too bad. Satin clear film, $5,000. So basically a stealth film of some kind. That's going to be $5,000. The roof rack is ridiculous. It's $800 for the roof rack, which is a lot of money. But the way that the roof rack works, you can actually use it on the top of the Cybertruck. You can also use it on the rear of the Cybertruck, which is really cool. One of the things I was most excited about was the mole connectors that they developed for the back of the Cybertruck. So you can put these on the sides, you can put this on the back, and you can put a ton of accessories on this truck. You can really kit this truck out and make it your own for your own use case, which is pretty fantastic. Now, a spare tire, $1,250, a little bit on the high side, but if you had the range extender and you put that tire back there, you don't have a bed left. So it's an interesting balance. You're going to have to figure out, is it worth having the spare tire or not? Unfortunately, it does take up quite a bit of the bed space. One of the things that they removed from the Cybertruck was the air compressor. They originally featured it with an air compressor where they've got these plugs in the rear of the truck, but they've since removed that. And I don't think that's a huge deal. People probably don't even use it. It's a cool to have kind of thing. But they've developed an air compressor you can add to your truck, and it's $550. It is insane expensive. I'm sure it does some cool stuff, but that's a lot of money. Now, the Cybertruck is bidirectional charging, which is fantastic. It does feature that 1450 plug, the 240-volt plug in the rear. It's a 48-volt architecture. This truck really is, in many regards, next level. And the truck that they released yesterday is the most bad truck that they've ever talked about. This thing is way cooler, way stronger, way tougher than what we originally saw. There's just a lot of things that have changed since then, and the biggest thing for me is price. The second biggest is range. Now, I'm excited to see that they have these range extenders. I did not anticipate anything like that. Just having 350 miles, I thought, was what we were looking at. I wasn't too far off, but the prices are just crazy. You cannot add anything to the dual motor if you want the tax credit. So if you add $1,000, you just added $8,500 because the tax credit goes away completely. So you got to take the truck as it is to get the tax credit, and that'll at least bring it down to 72, but it's still a ton of money. When Tesla announced the Cybertruck, a lot of the focus was on an affordable truck, in my opinion. I don't think that there's any way you can argue otherwise. The truck that they released yesterday is going to be for those who have to have it. It is priced accordingly. And I'm not saying that I have a problem with that. I'm just disappointed because I really thought, maybe I'm too naive, but I really thought they were going to release the truck at an affordable price like they talked about during the announcement, which was great. But unfortunately, it turns out those days are gone. So Cybertruck, if you have deep pockets, you can definitely get your hands on one, and hopefully that is the case for you. I have a bunch of money saved up for the Cybertruck. Unfortunately, nowhere near enough, so I've got some work to do myself to get enough money to buy this truck. But I am so excited to have it. Let me be very clear. I think the truck is amazing. It's just a lot more expensive than I expected. So I'm definitely going with dual motor. I cannot afford the Cyberbeast. There's no way. I'm going to try to add the range extender after the fact and hope that my bed is still usable. So there's going to be a lot of testing, a lot of things I'm going to do with it. I can't wait to take this truck for like a month. So I am very much looking forward to that. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Were you happy? Were you disappointed? What do you think about the release that we just had yesterday? I'm very interested to know what your thoughts are. I really appreciate you joining me along for this journey for the last couple of days and sticking with me with the lack of voice, but wrapping up my thoughts and feelings on the Cybertruck. I think that it's an exciting time to be in electric vehicles. And with that, I'll catch you on the next one.